Welcome to Loan Officer Success Live, sponsored by Premier Lending, the show where the mortgage industry's top players pull back the curtain. Your host, Devin Dubuque, sits down with industry leaders, top producers, and game-changing mortgage tech innovators, all sharing their unfiltered strategies, bold ideas, and proven secrets for success. Get ready to take notes, think bigger, and play to win, because this is Loan Officer Success Live. All right, guys, we're live, and man, we're in two places at one time. I got my great friend and somebody I've known for quite some time, Shane Valente from Cali. But man, you're not from Cali, are you?
No, sir. Dallas, Texas. Born and raised. Just a lost guy out here on the West Coast.
Well, you're born and raised, and I'm born in Kansas, and I'm the one that's still in Dallas. And where are you now, man? What part of California are you in?
I'm in Northern California. If you hug the coast, I kind of bounce between a beach town outside of San Francisco outside of Silicon Valley called Santa Cruz.
Okay.
If you head down further on the Highway 1, you get into kind of Monterey, Carmel. Where I have an office down there in Carmel, which is kind of famous for like the golf scene. Actually, a lot of Texans love their Carmel by the sea. Like Pebble Beach is there, so a lot of retirees. So kind of completely different markets. So you got Silicon Valley spillover of tech into the beach town of Santa Cruz, and then you got pretty much the whole world that wants to either have a second home or retire in Carmel.
There it is, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So what you guys don't know is Shane and I go way back. Like, we cut our teeth in the industry together. I started 23 years ago, and about a year after I started, this amazing gentleman came to start where I was at Dallas Home Loans. Our CEO at the time was David Melrose, and Shane and I were teammates, man. We worked on the same team for what, man? Probably 2 years, maybe 2 years, 3 years.
Something like that. I think, Melrose and his team were kind of imploding, and we just felt like there was probably some better opportunities to, stay afloat and do better business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for a while there, you had gone over with a good friend of ours, Kevin Maloney, and then you guys branched onto us for a short period of time. I think that would have been around 2005, 2006. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. There was a lot of kind of in and outs and trying to find a home, and the industry was just kept turning. Every day it was kind of something new. So yeah, there was a lot of in and outs at that point.
And then you ran out to Seattle, right? And that
I did. Yeah, that was. I thought that was going to be the end all be all. I was going to be a Pacific Northwest guy, and went and got licensed out there, and was trying to set up roots to be a broker of a record. And then before I knew it, I was, packing up my stuff and headed south to California. That could be a gray cloud thing in Seattle. I think I kind of missed the sun after a bit. But
my man. Yeah. So then out to California, and we kind of lost touch here and there throughout the years. And it's kind of cool because I got remarried back in 2020, and you and I connected. I came out there for my bachelor party, right? And we hit up San Diego, or just outside of, and had a great reunion with all of our good buddies. And Shane showed up to support it, man. We got to connect, and I got to hear about all the cool things that he'd been doing, and he got to hear about some of the stuff that I was doing. It was great, man, just to see people that we dove into the industry with, cutting our teeth, transitioning and turning into the great success stories that they are today, man. And you're one of those success stories, brother. And that's why I wanted to bring you over here and just kind of share your stint in the industry and some of the things that you've done and how you've gotten where you are today.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a long road. I think, quite honestly, you're the only person other than myself that kept contact with that's still in the industry. Like, we never left. I mean, you always have the stories. I'm sure you hear about it every day. It's almost every single real estate agent here in California at some point had their loan officer's license. If they don't still, and would tell me the stories. And look at after 08, 09, yeah, we stopped. And I was like, I didn't. I kept strong, and that's the thing. I was just having a conversation with one of business partners today, and he was just like, I had the most success of my entire career in 2010, 2011, real estate wise. When everybody else was running away, I ran toward it. And I think, there's some gold in that thought process that, if you don't stay the course, it doesn't make it easier to get out and come back in.
That's right. That's right. Well, at the end of the day, what I found is people that create great success are the ones that just dive in and go head first and just stay consistent, right? And there are times in everybody's career where things may get a little scary, but that's when the good stuff happens, man. Like when things get scary, that's because you're moving on to that next level. And sometimes you got to go to that extreme to be able to get there, right? Sometimes it does get scary. So yeah, 2010, that was a weird time in the industry. I think everything leading out to that was an interesting time. But right after that, man, 11, 12, 13, we got back into some great markets. And I think that's where a lot of your building really started, right? Like you started not just being an originator, but you started building a team and really doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, when I got to California, I was basically going to do what everybody else was doing. I was going to forego doing loans, and the first people I were meeting were in real estate and doing pretty, a good amount of business, having some success. And I was like, well, I can do that job as well. And I talked to one of my mentors, and he was like, why would you do that? He's like, if you got this great craft, he's like, stay in the loan side of things, come work for us, or with us. And he kind of knew right off the bat that, I was a good technician. And so I just stayed the game. And when I got here, I was pretty intimidated because I thought, wow, like these guys it was everything that we heard about in Texas, like massive loan amounts, so much success.
Tons of competition.
Yeah, and it turned out really, once you peeled back the onion, that there was a lot of lazy loan officers that were entitled because they only had to do a half the business that we were doing to make twice as much money. Yeah, they didn't know how to get through adversity with a tough file. Yeah. And when adversity hit, they were nowhere to be found. They didn't pick up the phone. So I basically started picking up business.
Where'd they go?
By being, the Superman of bad loan officers. And I just come in, I clean up a file, get it closed. And then that basically became my spiel as, hey, I know you don't know me. I've only been here for X. I've been in the business for a long time. But if I do what I say I'm going to do, I get the job done, I follow up, I communicate, will you have coffee with me after we close? And everything goes on. Absolutely. And that's just slowly but surely, I just started picking off good accounts. And then kind of spread like wildfire. And I wasn't technically doing anything differently. I think just, it's kudos to you that I've been educated enough to dig into a file, figure out what's wrong with it, scrub a credit report, look at it and like, what are the things that could prevent this file from happening versus already trying to get to the sale that it's done. Like if you look at it as it's kind of ugly, and you're preaching that to somebody that thinks it's always perfect, you're actually a different voice in the back of their head. And when you say, hey, look, like, thank God you're talking to me, because if you weren't, this could be an issue. Is it going to be an issue? I don't think so. But if it is, we got plan A, B, C, D, E here to help you get where you need to get going. Amen. So just a few of those, just, rap sheets, and then, being coached really well and partnering with people that, knew that there were people doing more production and smarter than they were, that kind of helped me get out of the tunnel vision and actually start, spreading, what I know.
Well, man, I love that you took it back to the grassroots, because I remember, back when we were teammates, years ago. I mean, that was it. I think that's what we were known for, is taking files that other parts of even other teams in our own company couldn't get done, right? Mm-hmm. And we dissected those down to a science, and then we not only figured out how to get them done. I'll never forget, man. I can't remember who the loan officer was, but I remember they were on. And sorry, Grant Branoff, you're listening in. They were on your team, and basically, what happened was the file was not working the way it was. The processor handed it back and said, "This client's dead." And they came to me because they heard that our team was doing some cool things, right? and they were like, hey man, this file's dead and I don't know what to do with it. And what was really amazing was that I was able to take that file, transition it over to an FHA loan at the time, right? They were putting them on a subprime loan. So this client didn't qualify subprime, but somehow could qualify FHA, right? So we transitioned over to FHA, and not only did we get the client qualified for the loan, we got him a better interest rate because it wasn't subprime anymore, and the loan officer made more money. In hindsight, it doesn't work the same now. We make the same money on every file, right? But back then, you controlled the pricing, and the loan officer made more money. Client got qualified, we got him to the closing table. And that's, I think that's one of the things that makes this industry so great, is that we can take people that have been told, no, I can't, and we can show them how they can. And Shane, you turn that into your business practice of going out and finding agents and showing them that you were that lone doctor, right? That surgeon that could get in there and take somebody else's no, turn it into a yes, and help those clients get home and give the agent a better experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just what it is. You got to separate yourself from the pack. Like, you got your low rate leaders, and that's all they know. They really haven't figured out anything else, but that's what I do. I sell low rate, and if I'm not the lowest, then I can't help you. You got like a client of mine or a colleague of mine that I was in business for a long time. Like, I taught him how to do VA loans, and they're great, fantastic loans. And he ran with it. Like, he's got like American flags behind him, and boy, he's not a military guy.
He owned it.
He sure looks like it. He'll salute you. And he's the number one, VA guy in Monterey County now. Yeah. And, like I said, that's fine. Like, get your angle, follow that angle, and hopefully build from it. And that's really all I did in a market where I did not have the relationships.
You didn't know anybody, man. I mean, you were from Texas and then Seattle and then California, and you were starting fresh. I love what you said about the VA guy. I was recently at a conference. Shout out to Neil Dingra and the Ford Mastermind. Those guys are doing some great things over there. And they brought in some amazing speakers. And, I remember one of the speakers stepped up on stage, and I'm going to quote him. So, maybe earmuff moment, but he said, look, at the end of the day, we keep getting told that we've got to know everything and do it all the best. But the reality situation is we don't have to. We can be a one-trick pony, right? But if we're going to be a one-trick pony, make sure that pony's a fucking unicorn, right? And that's what you're talking about here, is your buddy went so all in on understanding VA that he became the one-trick VA pony, and he's built a great market out of that, right? And, that's the thing, guys. If you're tuning in and you're wondering, like, how do I set myself apart from the competition? Zone in on the thing that you're great at. And that's what you need to be talking about, right? Those are the things. You did the same thing, Shane. You said, look, here's how I operate, and this is how I get things done. And at the end of the day, I'd love to build a relationship with you. Have coffee with me. Let me prove it to you by closing your loan, right?
Yeah. There just wasn't a lot to ask. And that's just what you got to do. Sometimes you got to ask, and you got to ask for the business. And whether that's taking somebody to dinner or coffee or follow up conversation, I think loan officers get so, I guess, narrow-minded, and just the basics. Like, they can't wait to get a client off the phone during a pre-approval. They really haven't asked them anything or even listened to them and digest it, because the whole time they're just trying to pre-underwrite it, set the rate, get it going, hit pre-approval, issue the letter, and then call me back once it's, in contract. And problem is that, AI is going to take that job. You really have to be a fiduciary. You got to separate yourself from the pack, whether it's being a technician or a VA guy, or I am a low rate lead, whatever your thing is, you're going to have to do more. And I think that's just really what it is. And that's like building the team. And now you're a service product. I was on a deal yesterday with like Barry Habib, and it's just good refreshers for loan officers and teams, like, to bring value. And he made the very good point about, like, do you think that people staying at the Ritz-Carlton in Hawaii paying $5,000 a night, they know they're paying that, or they can pay $350 a night and get a very great room, but they're paying the $5,000, and they know they are, for the service and the amenities that come with it. And not that we're a 10x more expensive commodity than the next bank or what have you, but there has to be, hey, we're not transactional. We're not transactional.
The boutique
We're
service.
Going to follow up with you. We're going to rate strike. We're going to do an equity review with you a couple times a year. We're going to hook you up with the trust attorneys, the tax advisors, the CPAs, if you need it. If you don't, Like, let's have that discussion. So I think if you start building yourself as a fiduciary and not just a salesperson, I think it's worth its weight in gold. And of course, you got to be good and you got to communicate. You got to have decently low rates. You can't be a high rate leader. But, that's all being part of a good team and a good company where your margins are correct for whatever your market is. My market is a whole different story.
It is a different story. You're in that area where, pricing's pretty lean, and it has to be. And, if you're going to compete, you got to be there. But at the same time, how do you compete and keep a good P&L to where you can stay profitable and keep yourself in a good financial position, but at the same time, provide a great service? And I think that's what you're talking about, Shane, is when you set yourself apart from the competition by giving more value to the end user. And value isn't, here's the best interest rate. Here's the best. Value is, what are your needs? How can I meet those needs? But how can I meet those needs throughout the loan process? And then what does that look like after the process too? Because we're creating clients for life, right? I'm sure with you, just like, any great LO that I know or branch manager that I know out there, you're keeping communication with the people you're doing business with, and you're letting them know that your services don't stop at the closing table, right? They continue after the fact. And I love that you talked about the hotel thing. I use that one all the time. So I don't know, I might have to call Barry. I don't know who started it first, but I always talk about that, because when we take a vacation every single year, we only get one of those, right? Or two, maybe three, depends on the family, right? And where are we staying? Are we staying at the Best Western, the Motel 6, right? We don't necessarily have to stay at the Carlton, but man, I'd like to at least stay at a Marriott, if I'm taking the family out. And wouldn't I expect a little nicer service there, right?
You want that middle ground. You want good value, with the service and what you consider a fairly competitive price.
That's it.
Whether that's you doing your own homework to find that price or the person that's setting your vacation for you.
That's it.
And well, so, I think there's definitely, some lost value in there. And I think it's also, loan officer mindset, because I don't, every loan officer there is I don't care who you are, unless you're lying, looked at the COVID business and just loved it, writing checks, breaking necks, cashing checks, buying stuff. And then, the 2023, 2024, 60-70% drop in business, and they're floored, they're depressed, they're post-COVID, you're drinking too much, you hate the business, it's harder to do it. But it's like, I actually kind of flipped the mindset a little bit, and I was like kind of excited about interest rates going up, because I'm looking at it as like, yes, I might have less purchase business, but I'm going to get 3 or 4 repeat business clients out of every single purchase transaction that I do as we tick back down the refi game. My COVID clients, unless they move or we're pulling equity and I'm talking to them too, like, that's not really my home base anymore. It's everybody that I just wrote a deal for over the last couple of years. And guess what? That's going to pay me 2, 3, 4 times in the next 2 or 3 years. So 100%. I think that's just the mindset that you kind of have to change, versus like, oh my God, my volume's down, versus like, well, I'm going to do more with the deals that I just did.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. Well, and I think another thing you got to put out there too is not only did the market shift 70%, we lost 70% of loan officers. There's only 30% that were here during COVID that are left. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing for clients, because what does that tell you, right? It's a great thing for your agents. The 30% that are left are at the top of their game. And that means that you're starting to be able to work with the best of the best of the best. And that's what you deserve, right? You deserve to be working. Now, I'm not saying that there's not still some desk jockeys out there. It's some folks that are, not at the top of they're there. They're still going to exist. But man, the majority of the people that are left standing right now and having success, you can see them, right? You can see who's doing well in this industry. These are people that you can know, like, and trust. And, again, Shane, I love that you jumped on here with me, man, because this is the kind of education that people need. Consumers need to hear that, but so do other loan originators, right? Like, they need to know that we've got to be the best versions of ourselves. And before we jumped on here, we were talking in the green room, and, one of the things that we were talking about is, basically getting prepared for, what's to come. Right. And that's 100% where you said, you're just like, man, honestly, I'm excited for the future. Talk about that, man. Like, what gets you excited?
I think it's just a mindset thing. I don't know if it's, call them 44. And I actually enjoy this business more, and as tight as it is and as skinny as the margins are, as I think, because I can appreciate the education that I'm giving on. I don't just look at it as a paycheck. You know, there is helping, and I'm in small markets. And so every time I do something, like that person knows somebody that I know, and it's like, it's just the tree roots, they just kind of weave. And even though you can't meet every single person, it's just the referral network grows. Because when you're in a mass market like Dallas, Texas, or Austin, Texas, or Chicago, like, you're never going to meet, you're not 1 degree of separation from one another. Here we are. And so that's been kind of cool, as you like, oh, I went to a party the other day, and there's like 3 or 4 of my clients I've never actually physically met.
Oh, man, that's great.
But they're just in a neighborhood that I do a lot of business in. So that's nice, seeing the fruits of the labor, being a little bit more, having a little bit more years underneath my belt, but also excited about the future. Like, I don't know what, the stock market's going to do. We know the housing market should do its normal clip. If you look at history, the world's not ending. We've been through turmoil before. And so I think if you just click off the news, or at least turn the volume down on the day-to-day stressors, it can actually make, what used to be a really stressful and ugly situation a little bit prettier.
I love that, man. Yeah, I had a call earlier today with our secretary marketing and my CEO, Fadi Faraj, and you were talking a little bit about the state of the market. And, I think you're right. There is some doom and gloom out there, and there's some folks that are struggling and frustrated. And they should be. Average savings is down to the lowest point pre-COVID. But at the same time, and I think that's what a lot of people forget, is that pre-COVID was normal. That was a normal market, right? Like that was and not just a mortgage market, a normal market for our country, right? Like that was a normal place to be. And so, I think a lot of people are struggling with the patience, because we got used to being able to like overspend. And it created this inflation bubble, right? And at the end of the day, we've got to control that, right? So I think what's happening in the market, and I'm the unpopular opinion here, I think we do need to wait to fully drop rates, right? Like, I'd love to see it. The business side of me says, man, that'd be great, right? Like, I'd love to see it happen. But at the same time, I also have to think about our country. And I think a lot of people stop on that and make sure that we're ready to drop those rates so that we don't just go right back into the same problem that we had before. What's your take on that?
I mean, of course, they're going to say we need to make money cheaper to get out of a recession. Whether we're in one or we've been in one is hard to argue one way or the other. I wouldn't mind if the cost of money got a little bit cheaper. I think we should be sitting about a point less than where we are right now. I think it can stimulate the economy in different ways if it's not done too quickly and too recklessly. And over time, I think, like in last September, when we dropped the federal funds rate, a point, like mortgage rates went up a point, we weren't as healthy and doing as well on inflation. We weren't doing as well with employment. Take away the whole tariff conversation, and we're in a different market. So I think that we're going down a pretty good road. Yeah. I mean, at least in California, I think the real estate market here should be pretty steady. I mean, we have the AI companies that have pretty much said, hey, we're in the Silicon Valley, which helps, facilitate my markets that, I work in, I think, and just the rest of the nation is kind of a spillover of that. Yeah. And so I think that, we're doing pretty good. I'm not a doom and gloomer. I don't have the news channels flashing behind me in my office. I love data. I love reports, more accurate reports than not. But and I love history. Like, all we can do is look at what is going on today and give me another time in history that the same kind of things happened. Yeah. And what was the outcome? So,
my man. Well, I'd love to keep you here all day, but I know you've got things to do. What's something we didn't touch on today, or a closing message you'd like to leave out there for anybody that's viewing in?
Something we didn't touch on today. I mean, from a loan officer standpoint, or for growing the business, or for the consumer? What do you mean?
Anything that's important to you, brother, right? Anything that's important to you. My audience is typically other loan officers or agents that are looking for success tips, or even borrowers that want to know who they can connect with, right? People that they can know, like, and trust, like you, brother. And that's why I'm running your your at's down here at the bottom. If you guys want to get to know Shane, and you should, hey, go over there and like his page and DM him, right? If you got a question, go ahead, brother.
I think honesty and being upfront and being truthful in a sales relationship is so important nowadays. And I think like the relationships that I establish now don't have dollar signs behind them.
Yeah.
If somebody isn't like-minded in the fact that they're truly a good person, like take out the business, like would you go hang out with them? Yeah. I'm probably not, doing that. Like I love positivity. I don't need to be in a yoga studio and namaste type of deal, but like I just love, people that truly feel like their glass is full and it's not half empty and it's not sinking, it's not cracking. And those that are, I love to be a positive spinoff for them. Yeah. And so, I'm definitely practice what I preach. I enjoy what I do, and I give. And like that's the one thing I truly love about our business is that our knowledge and our history is all free. Like we don't charge by the minute. So everything that I tell people and I have conversations with is truly what I'm probably doing in my own practice, or I'm telling to my own clients as I would tell to all my friends and family. And so I think that honest approach is just, unfortunately, it's like an afterthought in today's society. So that's what I truly do. And I don't know if that answers your question, but
100% it does, man. Yeah.
We pride ourselves on here in my office.
That's what it's all about, man. And that's why I wanted to have you on here. I know your values. I know who you are. I know what you represent. I know the service you provide your consumers. And dude, it's awesome. And it's awesome to see where you took this thing, Shane, right? Because again, man, I literally remember 2023, 2 cubicles, right? Yeah, 2003, sorry, 2 cubicles, right? Side by side, 2 young guys jumping into this industry, wanting to change the world. And man, we had a whole lot of fun. Don't get it wrong, man. But at the same time, we were not anywhere near where we are today. And to see what you've done with it, man, it's super impressive. And that's why I wanted to spotlight you today. And just show other people that there's great people out there that's in this industry that want to give back. We want to pour into you and help you become successful with what you're doing too. So guys, make sure you go over to Shane's page and, get to know him. If you are looking for business are you just California? What other states do you service, brother?
Mostly California. I mean, I can do other states, but this is my bread and butter.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell Shane's a straight up guy, man. He wants to take care of people and he knows he can take care of you in that state because he knows financing in that area inside and out. He knows the agents. He's got relationships that he can provide to you. And that's really what this industry is all about, man. So again, brother, super proud of you and super proud to see what you've done. And guys, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate your support every single week. And we will see you on the next one. So thanks for stopping by today.
Yeah.
You've been watching Loan Officer Success Live, where real strategies meet real success. Don't forget to subscribe now and share it with your teammates and keep leveling up because your next breakthrough starts here. If this fired you up, don't just watch success, go out there and build it.